Okay, so this is a snap judgment review for Deus Ex for the PC. I've played this game for a grand total of 6 hours, and I can't take any more. For a game touted as one of, if not the best PC games of all time, and a personal favourite of my brother's, I've always been very intrigued as to what made it just so great. Now, I tried this game back in the day. I played the first level and just got very bored and gave up. And now in 2009, I willed myself to play it on my day off. And what a mistake that was, to force myself to play the greatest game of all time according to PC Zone, and probably many others. The following is what I endured to come to the conclusion that I have, which is that this is just a completely unenjoyable game, and the developers are sadists. Here's the ironic thing though, Ironstorm, the developers, did produce what I considered to be the greatest game of all time, but it sure as hell wasn't Deus Ex. Now let's get down to it. I'm not going to faff about, I'm not going to mince my words. I will use a few expletives, and I won't be as upbeat about this game as I may sound about other games in other reviews. I completed the tutorial, which is your bog standard pick things up, movement, aim and shooting kind of tutorial. Then I started on to the missions. The first mission has you going into some terrorist hideout to speak to some geezer about medicine that you stole from the government or authorities or whoever, and so you sneak around until you get there. Thing is, your options for entry are really open to you, which would be a great thing if it weren't for the fact that I just want to get down and shooting people. I just want to be told which way I'm going into this bloody complex. The shooting mechanics in this game are horrible. Your character's starting pistol does virtually no damage. Your character spends about 6 months reloading and moves about as fast as an asthmatic geriatric who's recently suffered a stroke, which makes dodging enemy attacks or just getting from place to place excruciatingly slow. And if there's one thing I hate in games, it's making games slow. I don't have time to sit around and wait to die in real life just because I'm playing a computer game. So anyway, the first few missions and tutorial only took me a whopping 2 hours to do, but apart from getting lost due to the tiny compass, everything, because everything was looking the same, I did actually eventually get to the next level, so I was beating a personal best there, which I should be surely happy about. There's an intermediary section after the first mission where you return to your main HQ and speak to a bunch of characters, and there's a whole bunch of places that are off limits, so it's not exactly entirely explorable. The level system is completely backwards and weird, and you speak to your boss anyway, and he tells you that you're basically going to be doing the bitch work, or your brother gets all the good stuff, and he sends you on your way to find the boat for the next mission. You can get up to some mischief while you're in the HQ, and there is some fun to be had, and it is quite cool how the boss man will bring this up with you if you've been up to no good. Anyway, the second mission is just, in my mind, a travesty of level creation. You're meant to go to some castle, but as far as I could tell, the castle was some blocky grey shed. Clearly my notion of a castle and the developer's one is just completely different. And I wouldn't have had a problem with that if it didn't make me question so much if I was even in the right area. There's even allied troops across the other side of the map for a later bit, and that just confused me as I didn't know which bit I was meant to tackle first. The grey shed or the underground stuff. So anyway, I dive into the shed, but recognise quickly after a while that if I just leave the shooting to my allies, I'll be a lot better off, because the shooting mechanics are so feckin' awful in this game. If you load up a game of Wolfenstein 3D, Doom, or even Blakestone, or any of those early FPSs, most of them get it right, and literally just shit all over this game and don't apologise for it. So you scour this castle in which everything's again fucking locked until this kid opens up this area for you. Seriously, you're meant to be some cybernetic piece of technological mastery with a crowbar, and you can't get past a locked door, but a small starving child can. So anyway, all the locks in this area need like 2 lockpicks, and I've only ever got 1, which is again really fun. I spend about an eternity looking for a keycode to the next locked door. Yeah, there's another one behind the one that was already locked before. I don't ever find one, but I do find a multi-tool, and due to seeing my brother on this game before, I kinda know to use it on the panel. I've got one question at this point. When the fuck did games stop using coloured keys, a la Doom, and even Outlaws and just basically other shooters like that? and start with this bullshit key code system. It may be more realistic, but this is a fucking computer game. It's not supposed to be real life office workspace simulator, for fuck's sake. Now, if it wasn't for, as I said, having seen my brother play this game before, I'd been royally fucked at that point. Just thinking it's another useless item like all my others that I've managed to accumulate in the space of 2 missions that I haven't got a clue about. So anyway, I go down the stairs and the guy spots me every time, sets the alarm off, and I get shot to pieces by seemingly indestructible turrets, or set on fire by a guy with a flamethrower. Just one question at this point: why doesn't this seemingly vital piece of government or whatever technology that you are get more than a stupid pistol to shoot your enemies with? Why not just give them a chain gun or a BFG or a rocket launcher? I died about 1 million times here, and I'm saving a lot of footage back. Anyway, until I managed to kill a few and narrowly being killed myself in the process. And then, just to find that I get up to like some staircase bit, I open a door that I think is just leading me onto the next bit, and I find myself outed into the street, thinking the door was leading me into another room, but it just led me out into the street again. And I don't know how to kind of open this thing, so I have to go all the way around, back the complex, while my lazy feckin' sidekick sits on her ass. Anyway, I go back in 20 minutes later with my character still travelling no more urgently than before, and find the place where the medicine is. I think it's this locked door that was there all the time, or at least I think that's true. To be honest, by this point I haven't got a feckin' clue. And I happen to notice online that you can blow these doors up, because again I don't have any kind of lock picks or anything. All the bodies seem to contain is ammo or whatever. And yeah, that's right people, I'm forced to resort to an online walkthrough by only the 2nd mission. So yeah, I walk into this room, I find there's like a computer screen I'm greeted with, and there's like a personnel number and a password that I have to put in again. So this is really enjoyable, and I just haven't seen any of these numbers anywhere. So by this point I'm tired, I'm frustrated, I'm bored, I'm all of these things in one. And if someone points out that these codes were on the body of the guard right next to me, I really couldn't give a flying fuck. By this point I'd been playing Deus Ex for 6 hours, which by the way I don't really recommend playing any game for 6 hours, but given that it was the best game of ever created, I shouldn't have think that should have been a problem really. As I said, I don't normally play games for 6 hours, but I was just dying to see how great this game was. Anyway, it really ranks alongside that other game that I consider so overrated, which happens to be Metroid Prime for the Nintendo GameCube. But that's another video, hopefully for another day. That was I managed to last even less on that one. But let me be clear, while I may poke fun and just kind of completely rip on this game, as it might be said, I don't do it with the intent to insult fans. Firstly, I'm a strong believer that if you consider yourself a fan of just anything, you need to re-evaluate your life. I've been following the Unreal Tournament games for a while. I've enjoyed most of them. The same is true of the Command & Conquer games, the Mario Kart games, the theme park games. You know, I could go on with lists, but I would never consider myself a fan of any of these game series, because to do so would A, make me fanatical about a game series which is first and foremost in existence to make the developers money. So when people like defend to the death these companies' games and consoles or whatever, they're basically just doing the companies like PR for them. And B, it's only a game, so what the hell do I care if someone hates it? But I'll suspect I'll get plenty of people ready furiously to tell me how wrong I am about this game, and if I'd played on it, I would have found it to be the greatest game ever. That's unlikely. For me, if I don't enjoy a game, there's only one source of blame: the developers. If they can't make the game accessible to everyone who takes the time to buy their game, install it, and play it, then they shouldn't be in the industry. For those of you who enjoyed the game, I have no problem with that. People, after all, can like and dislike what they want, so it's never personal when I give a game a bad score. But for me, this is an advert for everything computer games should not be: vastly overcomplicated and frustrating, for a thoroughly unenjoyable playthrough when I should have not given it a second chance and just left it on the shelf to collect dust. I give Deus Ex a 2 out of 10. And that's me.